On this week's episode of Inside Iowa, we'll take a look at the history of Kinnick Stadium,
learn more about a writing program on campus for high school students,
explore the rich history of Danforth Chapel and Hubbard Park,
check out the ultimate tailgating truck,
go behind the scenes for an MFA dance performance,
and see what the university is doing to prepare for the future of medicine.
Inside Iowa starts now.
Hey there, welcome to Inside Iowa, your guide to learn more about the University of Iowa and how it's making a difference. I'm Lauren Moss.
And I'm Eric Dawn. Every week we'll take you on a tour around campus so you can see what's going on with students and alumni.
And while the football season comes to a close, let's take a look at the storied history of Kinnick Stadium, which has been home to the Iowa Hawkeyes for 84 seasons.
From the early days as Iowa Stadium through the years with Niall Kinnick, and even when number 1 Iowa beats second-ranked Michigan, there's a lot of history, memories, and exciting times within those big brick walls.
From the recently installed video boards to the new press box, the historic stadium has gotten a bit of a facelift over the last few years, embracing new technology while maintaining its classical and stoic look.
Let's take a trip around the stadium and through the years to see some of the greatest moments in Kinnick's history. Change has been the theme of the Iowa football program in recent years. Take a look around Kinnick Stadium and you will notice a lot of it. For a program built on stability and consistency, change hasn't come easy around Kinnick Stadium. One look at the massive video boards in each end zone or the state-of-the-art press box, Hawkeye fans know Kinnick Stadium has come a long way. Originally opened as Iowa Stadium in 1929, the Hawkeyes hosted their first game on October 5th of that year against Monmouth College, a 46-0 win for the Hawkeyes. Iowa media icon Bob Brooks has seen a lot in his days covering the Hawkeyes. Brooks was fortunate enough to take in games at the old Iowa Stadium.
You could just grab a seat, and then when the ball went to the other end of the field, you could move down with the ball. You can't do that these days, of course. But Kinnick Stadium, with the way they've matched the brick to the old brick, when they have added things, has kept the total ambiance of the Kinnick Stadium experience, I think, about the same.
Over the years, Kinnick Stadium has hosted its fair share of memorable moments. A legendary clash with Notre Dame, a Heisman Trophy winner in Niall Kinnick.
I want you to know that I'm mighty, mighty happy to accept this trophy this evening.
The 1958 National Championship team, and who could forget this moment in '85?
Hayden Fry and the Hawkeyes, it's a nervous 2 seconds. Rob Holtland has kicked field goals of 35, 27, and 36. Here he is attempting a 29-yarder, which would beat Michigan. It's on its way, and it's good.
Iowa Stadium was renamed Kinnick Stadium in 1972 to honor Niall Kinnick, a World War II hero and the only Heisman Trophy winner in program history. It hasn't always been bright for Iowa. Legendary coach Hayden Fry dragged the program from the depths of despair to rosy pastures. Coach Fry led the Hawkeyes to 143 victories over his 20-year tenure. Fry retired in 1998, paving the way for former assistant coach Kirk Ferentz to pick up where Fry left off. A few years later, Ferentz had Iowa back atop the Big Ten. In 2004, the university announced a full-scale $86 million renovation to the press box and end zones, expanding the seating capacity to over 70,000. The 2-year project concluded in 2006, helping usher in a new era in Hawkeye football. The change hasn't stopped there. This past year, the north end zone underwent a facelift, adding 2 new video boards, something head coach Kirk Ferentz couldn't help but appreciate.
The impact of it really kind of hit us. We had camps out there in June, and the first time we were down on the field surface, the game surface, looking up there, I had no idea how large that was going to be, and it really does feel different. So if you haven't been in the stadium, when you get a chance to be in there, it's going to feel very different. It almost encloses that north end zone. It's going to be really nice, but it's also going to make it even more, I think, compact and probably louder in there. So that's a fantastic thing, but it'll be good for the fan experience.
The Iowa football program's 84th season inside Kinnick Stadium is underway. There will be plenty of ups and downs. Hawkeye fans, just know this: change can be a good thing.
All right, Eric, I have to ask, what's your favorite memory from Kinnick Stadium?
I have to go back to 2008 when Ricky Stanzi and Sean Green led Iowa down the field, only to have Daniel Murray kick a game-winning field goal against third-ranked and undefeated Penn State. We all rushed the field. It was a wonderful environment, but it was freezing cold that day.
Oh, I believe it. Well, when we return, we're going to check out a writing program hosted by the university.
And learn more about an iconic spot on campus inside Iowa. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Coach Bluter, and I'm here to tell you it's game on. The Hawkeyes are ready for the season, and we hope you're ready to join us. Order your Iowa women's basketball season tickets today. Call 1-800-IA-HAWKS or visit HawkeyeSports.com.
For more than 100 years, the University of Iowa community has been waking up to the Daily Iowan. Today, it's the largest newsroom in eastern Iowa, and now you can see the news every night on Daily Iowan TV. DITV, your news, sports, and weather source for the University of Iowa, and is produced by University of Iowa students and presented by the Hawkeye Network.
Show your Iowa pride, the Iowa Hawk Shop, where Iowa shops. The ultimate collection of Iowa Hawkeye merchandise, gifts, and apparel. Help support the University of Iowa. All proceeds benefit men's and women's athletic teams and student programs. The Iowa Hawk Shop, where Iowa shops. Show your Iowa pride. Call 1-800-HAWK-SHOP or visit www.hawkshop.com.
Welcome back, Hawkeyes. Iowa and writing go hand in hand, and the University of Iowa has a world-renowned reputation when it comes to writing workshops and programs.
That's right, Lauren, and this summer the International Writing Program hosted Between the Lines, a program for high school students who are interested in creative writing.
Students from around the state and around the world came to campus to learn more about creative writing and to increase their awareness of world literature.
Students stay on campus in the dorms and get to share their experiences with other aspiring writers, all while getting a chance to experience what the University of Iowa has to offer.
It's been definitely the coolest experience I've had, especially writing.
The purpose of Between the Lines is twofold. So one, we're doing creative writing, and we're using creative writing kind of as a focus to bring in students from around the world for cultural exchange.
We've covered poetry, we've covered playwriting, creative fiction, creative nonfiction. I know one of the girls is a journalist and she's learning a lot.
Yeah.
From the karaoke night to, to go into the caves and go into church with Emily, and I liked every single activity.
We did a cultural exchange night where students just got to ask each other some pretty tough questions. There were some tense moments in the conversation, but the students would all step in to protect each other if they felt like someone wasn't being heard or if they needed to clarify a point. And I think that's a really sweet testament to how just amazing our kids are this year. You couldn't do that with all high school students.
It's really interesting how different we are, but how we can still come together in a way that most people wouldn't expect.
Part of being a better person, I think, is learning that you don't always have to be right. My roommate's from Palestine, so I think just learning about other people is what Between the Lines does.
No, I was saying, I can't think of an example right now, but 2 words that have.
We've actually been able to reach out to all sorts of people abroad and not just the elite. We gave out $10,000 in scholarships because we wanted that reflection also. We care about the writing, that's what we care about. So we want to remove barriers for kids.
Somebody settles on the couch.
Really, people who are doing this work, they are great because they help people from other parts of the world just to see what they see every day.
I want to be a diplomat when I grow up, and so I really want to have these international connections and have friends from overseas that I can still talk to.
I want to take the people with me.
My best experience, I don't have a best experience. Actually, I loved everything about the program.
This is an opportunity I don't think you'll ever have any other time in your life, and I don't think you'll have this kind of opportunity anywhere else in the world.
And I want to have grown from this experience.
The lesson that I'm gonna take back with me is never stop writing.
That's so great to see the next generation of writers working together to study and learn more about the craft.
I gave creative writing a shot myself and wrote a haiku for the show. You want to hear it?
All right, let's hear it.
All right, be prepared. Haikus are easy, but sometimes they don't make sense. Refrigerator.
Ooh, Eric, you should probably stick to TV.
Are you talking to me?
Hey, no more rhymes now, I mean it.
Anybody want a peanut?
All right, well, that's enough. How many times have you walked around campus and passed that little chapel by the Pentecrest? Well, that's Danforth Chapel, and it was built in 1952, and it resides in Hubbard Park, which also has its own unique history.
Named after former Dean Philip Hubbard, it's a popular place for students to enjoy and play frisbee, do some yoga, or do a little studying. You've probably walked by both Danforth Chapel and Hubbard Park dozens of times, but have you ever stopped and thought about their history? If not, let's take a look.
Whether it's for religious services, weddings, or just students playing frisbee, Hubbard Park and Danforth Chapel are part of the University of Iowa's historic landscape.
Danforth Chapel was one of the first buildings to be reopened in the wake of the 2008 flood. Danforth Chapel was built to represent people of all beliefs, and it is deliberately non-denominational. When it was constructed, it was the wish of William Danforth and for those who proposed the project that it not subscribe to any particular dogma or belief or religion. And if you look at the chapel today, you will see no reference to a specific religion, but you will see a building that welcomes anyone. The plans for the chapel came from a pioneer church, which was constructed in a township in northern Johnson County back in the 1870s. By the 1930s, the church itself had fallen into some disrepair. However, it served as a model that Grant Wood made note of.
Hubbard Park, the home of Danforth Chapel, has its own interesting history. Named after former university dean Philip Hubbard, the park was almost turned into a parking lot in 1988, but it was saved from this fate by several university students and faculty who loved the park and decided to join together in protest.
It was known as Union Field up until 1991, and that year it became renamed and dedicated in the memory of Philip Hubbard, who was, for a good number of years, the Dean of Students here at the University of Iowa. the first African-American dean to serve in the Big Ten, and also the first African-American professor at the University of Iowa.
Though Iowa City and the University of Iowa have both changed tremendously, the school still preserves its historic buildings and the community's rich history.
Now that's really cool to be able to learn more about the history of the university. I like to even study at that park.
I've studied there a time or two myself.
All right.
Coming up next, we'll meet a diehard fan in his ultimate tailgating truck. Inside Iowa, we'll be right back.
You're going to have a 3D card.
Why are you taking it, Tasia?
So the key thing here is that
May, when Basabe has been very active on the offensive glass. And there it is. Devin Marble with that score joins his dad Roy in the 1,000-point club here at Iowa. The first father-son duo in Big Ten history to accomplish that feat. He just made history. Father and son, each in the same exclusive club in Iowa basketball history.
All right, we've been showing you great tailgating recipes all season long, but this week we've got something special to show you.
We'll meet Derek, who is a lifelong Hawkeye fan, and he's built the ultimate tailgating truck.
We're going to see his new creation, which he rescued from an early grave. Now, this is actually his second truck, which he renovated and restored, but his plans for the next one are even bigger.
The inside of the truck is loaded too. It has counters for food, it's decked out with TVs, and covered in black and gold. Plus, there's a big screen on the outside as well. Keep an eye out on the road for this Hawkeye truck driving through town.
Welcome back to another episode of Kinnick's Kitchen. Today, right now, we are actually not talking about food though. We are on this awesome truck that Derek built completely by himself. So tell us a little bit about your awesome truck, Derek.
Well, I built one last year and didn't last but 1 year, so I ended up selling it because I found this one, which is a much bigger unit. So lo and behold, it was in the weeds, so I talked to the guy that owned it, and I ended up getting the truck bought through a bankruptcy deal and got $1,200 I bought it for. So we transformed this. We bought it December 17th, and it took me 1 month. January 17th, we were done and took it to the Big Boy Toy Show in Cedar Rapids. And of course, it's been an ongoing process of adding stuff here, there, everything, so to get it the way I want it. But for the most part, it was done in a month.
So what is the general reaction from Hawk fans when they see something like this?
A lot of them can't believe that something was done like this. They're unbelievable. They're like, wow, this is awesome. You know, it's truly a Hawkeye pride tailgater.
And so you were saying you bought it for $1,200, and how much did it cost to fix this all up?
When I was done, I actually got sponsors on the side, used my resources. I've got $2,800 in this unit.
Wow.
And it's impressive for $2,800.
Oh yeah. Well, you got sofas, you got television, you got your counters for food. I mean, you're stacked here. And you were a longtime Hawkeye fan?
Yes, just lived in Western Iowa. Didn't get here much. It was 4.5 hours away, which you know and I know it's a long trip, 4.5 hours to come here and then turn around and go home. So I moved to Cedar Rapids about 12 years ago, and I decided I was going to build a Hawkeye tailgater and start coming to every game. So now that's been done, so we're going to keep the tradition going.
All right, well, I think the question on everybody's minds is, what are you going to do next year to top this?
Well, my friends and everybody knows me. I sold the other one within a year. This one I'll probably sell if the right price comes along. I've already thought about a semi-trailer, making a semi-trailer into a tailgater. You know, the one side will open up, the TV will be on the back wall, and the front will be bar stool so you can sit there and watch TV.
And so, well, what do you do, do you work and build things in your normal job, or is this total, like, just a hobby kind of thing?
It's always been a hobby of mine. I tore things apart when I was younger, literally tore things apart and got in trouble. I got my bottom beat quite a few times for this situation. So, but look what it's made me today, you know.
Well, we normally end the segment by eating some food, but now we're just hanging out on your awesome truck. So go Hawks!
Go Hawks!
Go Hawks!
Go Hawks!
Wow, I wonder what he's going to come up with next.
Whatever it is, I'm sure it will be even bigger and even better. And I know where I'm watching games next season.
Me too. But when we return, we're going to go behind the scenes with the Department of Dance.
And see how UI Healthcare is planning for the class of 2033. Inside Iowa, we'll be right back.
The Hawkeye wrestling team is ready for the 2013-2014 season. How about you? Get ready by purchasing your season tickets today. For only $85, the Hawkeyes host wrestling powerhouses Oklahoma State and Minnesota at Carver Hawkeye Arena this season. And Tony Ramos, Derek St. John, and Bobby Telford want to see you there for another electrifying season of Hawkeye wrestling. To purchase your tickets, call 1-800-IA-HAWKS or visit HawkeyeSports.com for more information.
Performing Iowa, the University of Iowa's finest in music, dance, and theater performances. Go behind the curtain and see why the University of Iowa is a hub for artistic expression and creative production. Performing Iowa, each week only on the Hawkeye Network.
Graduate students in the University of Iowa Department of Dance go beyond the classroom in the 2013 Thesis 2 performance.
The performance is the climax of the Dance MFA program, which combines academic research with real-world choreography. Let's go behind the scenes and see how it's all done.
The Thesis concert is a culmination of the entire program of study and research for the MFA student. The entire program supports the ability to get to this point from technique and composition and theory, and by the time that the students arrive at the Thesis concert, they're conducting creative research that is self-defined and results in both the creative production of the concert and also a written document that is an account of the process and somewhat of an assessment of the product. My name is Jennifer Kale. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Dance. I also co-direct the graduate program. We investigated some concepts together starting back in January and sort of together generated a lot of possibilities around a kind of conceptual center that's about imagination and the power of one's inner vision. And so we conducted some creative research into this idea through movement, through text, through free writing, through improvisation. And so, yeah, the result is this work. I will be satisfied as a viewer and a teacher if what I see has a certain amount, has a depth of perspective. That it goes beyond surface considerations, that its form seems to emerge from a body of thought. I think the answer has something to do with the individuals and wanting to see that the individuals have grown substantially since the the moment when they came into the programs. I hope that the other people who see it can experience it in some manner that is connected to the impulse that made it happen, so that somehow they feel drawn into its story and that they could identify with these situations and these personalities and these kind of states of being that are performed.
The University of Iowa postgraduate program is highly selective and only takes a handful of applicants each year.
And they get tremendous academic and real-world experience to prepare themselves for future careers.
And experts at the Harvard College of Medicine are doing their part to prepare for the future of medicine as it examines how the class of 2033 will be practicing medicine.
With the advances in technology, students will continue to keep the human connection as medicine moves forward.
The entering class of 2033, they're going to grow up with 20 years of a new way of thinking about medicine.
We need to integrate our health profession students right from day one. Care is improved when healthcare professionals come together.
Team-based care is comprehensive, it's holistic. It's one of the things that I'm learning about now that I can really see myself doing 20 years from now.
The technology of the future is going to require us to really focus on how we communicate and to make sure that we don't lose that human connectedness. So one of the ways that I think we can address that is through simulation training, where we are trying to develop mechanisms and processes for interprofessional training.
Simulation will be replaced entirely by virtual reality.
They may be a nurse in Canada, a physician in China, a physical therapist in the United States, and will work as teams.
To be able to take a simulation where you have something that's fully dissectable, we can infer new things that we wouldn't be able to see in a traditional section.
You always have to be evaluating and changing your curriculum. We had three major emphases: innovative, integrated, and individualized.
The future means that when a person interacts with the healthcare team, they could really be seeing any number of specialists. It really depends on their specific needs and expectations.
Students will no longer be afraid of sequencing their genomes. They will want it. It will be so common that we'll have a little chip in the wrist area so that when you go to an emergency room, you just need to scan it, know someone's medical history.
We, as medical professions and medical specialists, have to understand the capabilities that we possess to make people's lives much easier. So as we move forward, we have to be thoughtful that the technology doesn't drive the mission, but we drive technology with our mission.
Changing medicine,
Changing lives
Through innovation,
in discovery,
Education.
and patient care.
at the University of Iowa Carver College of Medicine.
All right, well, this does it for this week's episode of Inside Iowa. Hope you got to learn a little bit more about the university, its students, faculty, and research.
Be sure to tune in next week, same place, same time, where you can catch up on all the latest and what's going on at the University of Iowa.
For Inside Iowa, I'm Lauren Moss.
And I'm Eric Dawn.
See you next week.